もう、下ろすがいい。その肩に、その心に、ずっしりと食い込んでおる重荷の数々を、富、名声、人の目、過去への悔い、未来への不安、そんなものはすべて、君自身が、必死の思いで作り上げ、そして握りしめてきた幻なのだ。わしがこれから語るのは、ただの昔話ではない。300年の時を超え、君の魂に直接語りかける、生きた言葉だ。君を、がんじがらめにしておる見えざる鎖を、一つ一つ立ち、切り、今この瞬間から、鳥のように軽く、風のように自由になるための、絶対の真理である。よく来てくれた。わしは、松尾芭蕉、と、人は呼ぶが、そんな名は、旅の途中で捨ててきた雨具のようなものに過ぎん。わしは、何者でもない。ただの旅人よ。この世が生まれては消え、また生まれる。その果てなき流れの中を、永遠に歩き続ける旅人に過ぎんのだ。そして、よく聞け。君もまた、旅人なのだ。この人生という、一度きりの、尊い旅路を行く、かけがえのない、光り輝くべき旅人なのだ。だが、どうだ、その顔を、曇らせておるものは一体何だ。鏡を見てみるがいい。そこに映るのは、本当に君がなりたかった顔か。眉間に刻まれた深い死は、力なく落ちた口角、遠くを見つめるようで、その実、何も見てはおらぬ、うつろな目、その足取りは、あまりに重くはないか。まるで泥沼に足を取られたかのように、一歩進むごとにおびただしい気力を消耗してはおらんか。その背中には、一体どれほどの荷を背負い込んでおるのだ。子供の頃に集めた、今はもう意味もなさぬが楽だ。人からよく見られんがための、錆びついた重たい鎧、もうとっくに色あせてしまった。甘くも苦い思い出の数々、他人からの期待という名の、無数の石ころ、自分で自分に課した、核あるべしという、冷たい鉄の枷、そして何より、情報という名の、際限なき砂だ。他人の暮らし、世の出来事、役に立つやもしれぬ知識、それらを、来る日も来る日も、その小さな心の袋に、もうはちきれんばかりに詰め込んではいないか。その荷物は、本当に君自身のものか。その苦しみは、本当に君が心の底から選んだものなのか。夜、一人静かに布団に入ったとき、ふと、言いようのない虚しさが、冷たい風のように胸を吹き抜けることはないか。これだけのものを手に入れたのに、なぜ心は満たされぬのか。これだけ人のために尽くしてきたのに、なぜ誰も分かってはくれぬのか。これだけ懸命に生きてきたのに、なぜただただ疲労だけが募るのかと。その虚しさ、その渇きこそ、君の魂が上げている、悲痛な叫びなのだ。重すぎるのだ。もう歩けぬのだ。助けてくれと。もう、いいのだ。もう、十分ではないか。その誰のためでもない苦行は、もう終わりにする時が来たのだ。わしが、その終わりへと、君を導こう。わしは、江戸の深川に、ささやかな案を結んでおったことがある。弟子が植えてくれた芭蕉の葉が、夏の雨に打たれ、カラカラと心地よい音を立て、冬の風にそよぎ、ハラハラと荒れる。そんな景色を眺めながら、俳諧の仲間が集い、茶をすすり、他愛もない句を読み合う。それなりに満ち足りた、穏やかな日々であった。宗匠と慕われ、衣食にも困らぬ。これ以上の何を望むのか。と、だが、ある日、わしの内なる声が、雷のように、こうとどろいたのだ。芭蕉よ、ここで朽ち果てるつもりかと。このささやかな安寧に魂を売り渡し、旅人であることを忘れてしまうのかと。その声に、わしは全身を貫かれるような衝撃を受けた。そうだ、わしは旅人であったはずだ。安住は、緩やかな死である。よどんだ水がやがて腐り、悪臭を放つように、止まる魂は輝きを失い、やては己自身をも蝕むのだ。わしは、すべてを捨てると決めた。安定した暮らしも、俳諧の宗匠として慕われる立場も、弟子たちの敬意も、書き溜めた書物も、すべてを投げ打った。案の柱に、 ただ一句を残して、草の友、住川春よぞ、ひなの家。わしが去ったこの古びた庵も、いずれ新しい住人が来て、華やかなひな人形でも飾られることだろう。それでいい。それが、世の断りなのだ。万物ある転する。執着こそが、魂を曇らせる最大の毒なのだ。あるものは愚かだと笑い、あるものは気まぐれだと呆れたであろう。だが、わしには分かっておった。これを手放さねば、わしは、わしでなくなってしまう。魂が、窒息してしまう。と、君が今、必死でしがみついておるその城は、本当に君が命を懸けてまで守るべきものか。その地位は、その財産は、その人間関係は、君を自由にしておるか。それとも、君を縛りつける、居心地の良い、見えざる牢獄と化して羽織らんか。いいか、よく聞け。人生における最初の、そして最も重要な一歩は、捨てることだ。放下することだ。簡素に生きるということは、貧しくなることではない。それは、無駄なものを徹底的に削ぎ落とし、本当に大切なものだけを、魂で磨き上げる。この世で最も豊かで、最も贅沢な生き方なのだ。なぜ、人は捨てられぬのか。それは、恐れているからだ。手放した先に、何もない空虚が待っているのではないかと。己の地位や持ち物、過去の思い出、そういったものをすべて剥ぎ取られたら、自分は空っぽの無価値な存在になってしまうのではないかと、心の奥底で怯えているのだ。だが、それは大きな間違いだ。断じて違う。殻を破らねば、ひな鳥は空を飛べぬ。古い葉を落とさねば、木々は春に芽吹けぬ。君が恐れる空虚は、死ではない。それは、新しいものが生まれるための、神聖な空間なのだ。君が、そのガラクタで埋め尽くされた心の部屋を、勇気を持って空っぽにしたとき、初めて、誠の宝、すなわち、君自身の本来の輝きが、そこを満たし始めるのだ。そしてな、この捨てるという行いは、君を、誠の富へと導くのだ。君たちが追い求める富とは何だ。金銀か、屋敷か、人の羨望か。わしもまた、道の区の平泉が、かつて黄金の国と呼ばれたと聞き、心を躍らせた一人だ。だが、かの地でわしが見たものは何であったか。黄金の輝きではない。ただ、無心に生い茂る、夏草の緑の輝きであった。そこでわしは悟ったのだ。誠の富とは、蓄えることではない。それは、どれだけ豊かに感じられるか、という、心の状態なのだ。金銀は盗まれ、屋敷は焼け、人の評価は明日にでも変わる。だが、君の心が感じる豊かさだけは、誰にも奪うことはできん。では、誠の富とは何か。それは第一に、時間の富である。何かに追われることなく、ただ、ぼんやりと空を眺める時間、茶を一杯、ゆっくりと味わう時間、そういう、無駄に見える時間こそが、魂を養う、最高の贅沢なのだ。第二に、五感の富である。道端の花の色に心を奪われ、鳥の声に耳を澄まし、一杯の水に深い感謝を覚える。その、研ぎ澄まされた五感こそ、尽きることのない喜びの泉だ。第三に、つながりの富である。千人の知人より、心を許せる友が一人。その深いつながりこそ、君が凍える夜の何よりのぬくもりとなるだろう。これらの富は、何も持たずとも、今この瞬間から、君が手にできる、最高の宝なのだ。何を捨てるべきか、わかるか。まずは、その物置に詰め込まれた、何年も使いもせぬがらくただ。それらは単なるものではない。君の過去への執着、そしていつかという幻への不安、そのものだ。次に捨てるべきは、見栄という名の重たい衣。人によく思われたい、馬鹿にされたくない、立派だと思われたいという心は、君を不自由にするだけだ。それは他人の評価という、実に移ろいやすい砂上の楼閣に、己の幸福を委ねる、愚かな行いであるぞ。ありのままの君を、堂々とさらけ出せ。君を笑う者は、さらせればよい。誠の縁ある者だけが、必ず残る。 そして、最も厄介な荷物。それは、心の中のわだかまりだ。あの時の怒り、あの人への恨み、過去の失敗への悔い。そんなものは、百害あって一利なし。それは、君自身の心の中で、何度も繰り返し再生している。古い、傷んだ芝居に過ぎない。もう幕を下ろす時だ。許せぬと思うか。だが、許すのは、相手のためではない。その呪縛から、君自身を解放するために、許すのだ。今すぐ、きれいさっぱり、大河へと流してしまうがいい。さあ、想像してみよう。そのすべての重荷から解放された君を、背負っていた荷物を下ろし、着込んでいた鎧を脱ぎ、心のわだかまりを解き放った君を、どうだ、驚くほど、体が軽くなるのがわかるだろう。血の巡りが良くなり、呼吸が深くなるのがわかるだろう。心が、洗い清められた秋の空のように、どこまでも高く、青く澄み渡ってゆくのがわかるだろう。そして、今まで見えなかったものが、はっきりと見えてくる。今まで聞こえなかったものが、確かに聞こえてくるのだ。古池や、カエル飛び込む、水の音。ただ、人里離れた寺の、苔むした古びた池に、一匹のカエルが飛び込んだ。ぽちゃんと、小さな水の音がした。それだけのことだ。セミの声も、鳥の声も聞こえぬ。しんとした昼下がり。その、たった一瞬の、過疎けき響きのうちに、わしは永遠の静寂を聞いた。万物が生まれ、そして帰ってゆく、大いなる宇宙の響きを、確かに聞いたのだ。君たちは、あまりに多くのものを求め、あまりに多くの創造しい音を聞こうとする。だから、本当に聞くべき、魂の声を聞き逃すのだ。目まぐるしく移り変わる世間の出来事、他人からの評価、画面からとめどなく溢れ返る情報の洪水。そんなものに心を奪われ、自分自身の内なる静寂から、あまりに遠く離れてしまっておる。もっと、五感を研ぎ澄ますのだ。荷物を下ろした君には、それができる。その目で、ただ見るがいい。道端の石ころの、ゴツゴツとした肌触りを、一枚の葉を走る、葉脈の精妙なデザインを、夕暮れの空が、茜色から深い藍へと、刻一刻と移り変わってゆく様を、ただ、見るのだ。判断も、分析も、評価もせず、ただ、あるがままを、鏡のように映し取ればよい。その耳で、ただ聞くがいい。風が木々の葉を揺らす音、遠くで鳴く犬の声、雨が屋根を打つ音、そして、音と音の間にある、静寂を聞くのだ。すべての音が、そこから生まれ、そこへ帰ってゆく、大いなる沈黙の海を、その花で、ただ嗅ぐがいい。雨上がりの土の匂いを、炊きたての飯の甘い香りを、冬の朝の澄み切った氷のような空気を、その下で、ただ味わうがいい。一杯の茶のほのかな苦みと温かさを、一粒の塩の命の根源たる辛さを、その肌で、ただ感じるがいい。頬を撫でる春風の優しさを、夏の日差しの肌を焼く強さを、固い大地を踏みしめる足の裏の確かな感覚を、これこそが生きるということなのだ。小賢しい知識や複雑な理屈は、かえってその純粋な感覚を曇らせる。日光の山中で出会った仏御左衛門と名乗る宿の主を、わしは忘れん。彼は難しい理屈など何も知らぬ。ただひたすらに正直で朴訥な男であった。その心には策略もなければ損得感情もない。まるで磨き上げられた鏡のように曇り一つなかった。こういう生まれついての心の清らかさこそ、どんな学問や財産にも勝る人間としての最も尊い宝なのだと、わしは心底感じ入ったのだ。君はどうだ、小賢しい知恵を振り回してはいないか。損得感情で人を値踏みして羽織らんか。自分の正しさを主張するために言葉を浪して羽織らんか。そんなものは今すぐ捨ててしまえ。赤子のような素直なありのままを感じる心を取り戻すのだ。それこそが真理へと至る唯一の道であるぞ。そして その軽くなった心と体で歩き出すのだ。さあ、一歩を踏み出せ。人生とは旅そのものである。ひとところに止まり、よどんでいてはならん。それは魂の死を意味する。命ある限り、我々は旅人なのだ。常に未知なるものへと、新しい景色へと、一歩を踏み出し続けるのだ。だが芭蕉よと君は言うかもしれぬ。わしの人生は旅などではない。毎日同じ家で目覚め、同じ道を通い、同じ顔ぶれと会う。わしの人生は、旅どころか、小さな庭をぐるぐると回るだけの退屈な繰り返しだと。よく聞け。それこそが、誠の旅なのだ。旅とは、景色を変えることではない。己の心を変えることなのだ。小さな庭であろうと、そこに宇宙のすべてがある。昨日と同じ道であろうと、今日の光は昨日とは違う。道端の草花は、昨日より少し伸びているやもしれぬ。同じ顔ぶれであろうと、その人の心の中は、刻一刻と移ろいゆく。君の見る目が変われば、世界は無限の姿を表すのだ。日々の暮らしを、修行とせよ。朝、米を研ぐ。その一粒一粒に宿る命の輝きを感じよ。それは、君の心を洗い清めるみそぎとなる。床を掃く。それは、君の心の塵を払い、雑念を吐き清める修行となる。ただ歩く。その一歩一歩に、大地の力を感じ、己が生きていることへの感謝を込めるのだ。そうすれば、君の退屈な日常は、一日一日が、かけがえのない、聖なる巡礼の旅となるであろう。わしは、奥の細道へと旅立った。その外なる旅は、同時に、わしの内なる旅でもあった。越える峠の一つ一つが、我が心の執着を乗り越える修行であった。渡る川の一筋一筋が、我が魂の汚れを洗い流すみそぎであった。雨に打たれ、日に焼かれ、空腹に耐え、幾度となくの熟もした。その肉体の苦難こそが、安楽な暮らしで鈍り切ったわしの魂を磨き、五感を研ぎ澄ましてくれたのだ。痛みは、生きている証であった。空腹は、一粒の米のありがたさを教えてくれた。旅の途上、わしは、孤独と深く向き合った。日が暮れ、見知らぬ山中で、心細さに震える夜もあった。だが、その静寂の底で、わしは、それまで聞いたこともない声を聞いたのだ。それは、星々のささやきであり、風の歌であり、大地の呼吸であった。そして、我が内なる魂の声であった。人は、孤独を恐れる。だが、誠の孤独とは、人と離れることではない。己自身と、離れてしまうことなのだ。君が、君自身の魂と深く対話できるならば、君は、決して孤独ではない。むしろ、万物との大いなるつながりの中に、大いなる安らぎを見出すであろう。平泉の地に立ったとき、わしは涙を禁じ得なかった。眼下に広がるのは、ただの野原。かつて、藤原氏三代が、この地に黄金の塔を築き上げ、栄華を極めた。その間も、兵たちの時の声も、すべては幻。今や、ただなつくさが生い茂るばかり。英雄豪傑たちが抱いた、天下統一の夢も、永遠の繁栄への願いも、すべては、夏の夜の、儚い夢の後、夏草や、兵どもが、夢の後、なんと、儚いことか。人間の営みなど、大自然の悠久の流れの中では、瞬きほどの、ほんのささやかな出来事に過ぎん。ならば、我々は何に一喜一憂し、何に苦しめられておるのだ。君が今、あれほどまでに悩み、夜も眠れぬほどのその苦しみも、100年もすれば、跡形もなく消え去るというのに、この世のすべては、移ろい、過ぎ去ってゆくのだ。これが、無常という、宇宙の絶対法則なのだ。この真理を、腹の底から理解したとき、君は、あらゆる執着から解放される。結果に一喜一憂することもなくなる。なぜなら、良いことも、悪いことも、すべては必ず過ぎ去ると知るからだ。これは諦めではない。大いなる工程だ。流れる川をせき止めようとするから苦しいのだ。流れに身を任せ、 その流れそのものとなったとき、苦しみは消え、大いなる自由が訪れる。だが、忘れるな。儚いからこそ、美しいのだ。消えゆくからこそ、今この一瞬が、どうしようもなく愛おしいのだ。桜の花が、なぜあれほど人の心を打つかわかるか。それは、わずか数日で、潔く散りゆくからに他ならん。永遠に咲き誇る増加の桜に、人の魂は決して揺さぶられはしない。無常とは、悲観主義ではない。それは、今この瞬間を、最大限に、全身全霊で生きよという、宇宙からの力強いメッセージなのだ。中尊寺の金色堂は、千年の時を超え、今なお、まばゆい黄金の輝きを放っておった。万物を朽ちさせ、六章を吹かせるはずの、あのしとしとと降り続くさみだれでさえ、この光の御堂だけは、遠慮して避けて通ったかのようであった。さみだれの、降り残してや、光と変わるものと変わらないもの。この世は、その二つで成り立っておる。流行と不易、時代の流れとともに、人々の価値観や生活は変わってゆく。これが流行だ。しかし、親が子を思う心、自然の摂理の厳かさ、真理への憧れといった、決して変わることのない本質的なものもある。これが、不易だ。この、変わるものと変わらないもの、その両方を見つめ、その調和の中に身を置くこと、それこそが、この無常の世を、軽やかに、そして深く、味わい尽くすための極意なのだ。旅の途中、わしは多くのものと出会い、そして、数えきれぬほどの別れを経験した。中でも、病に倒れた弟子の空とたもとを分かった時の、あの胸を引き裂かれるような辛さは、今も忘れられん。これからは一人で伊勢に向かうという彼が、萩の野で倒れ伏すとも悔いはない。と言い放った時、わしは、彼の旅人としての覚悟に、ただ涙するしかなかった。先に行く者の悲しみ、後に残る者の辛さ。それは、いつもにはで連れ立って飛んでいたにはの鳥が、離れ離れになってしまうようなものだ。それでも、行かねばならぬ。振り返ってはならぬ。涙を拭い、顔を上げ、それぞれの道を、ただ前へと歩み続ける。それが、旅人たる我々の宿命なのだ。君の人生にも、数えきれぬほどの出会いと別れがあったはずだ。その一つ一つが、君の魂を磨き、君という人間を、より深く、より味わい深いものにしてくれたのだ。別れの悲しみを、ただの傷跡として、心の奥にしまい込んではならん。それは、君がそれだけ深く人を愛したという、何よりもの証なのだ。その痛みを、感謝へと変えよう。そして、明日を生きるための、静かな、しかし、何者にも揺るがぬ力へと変えるのだ。さあ、どうだ、ここまで聞いて、君の心に、少しは風が吹き始めたのではないか。重く垂れ込めていた雲の切れ間から、一筋の光が差し込んできたのではないか。わしが、この長い旅路の果てに、ようやくたどり着いた境地、それを、人は軽みと呼ぶ。それは、若さゆえの軽薄さや、何も知らぬがゆえの能天気さとは、全く違う。それは、小手先の技巧でもなければ、難解な理屈でもない。人生のあらゆる重荷を、その甘いも酸いも、喜びも悲しみも、すべて味わい尽くした者だけが、そのすべてを乗り越えた者だけが、ようやく手にすることのできる、達人の境地よ。それは、まるで、風にそよぐ柳の枝のようだ。激しい嵐が来ても、決して逆らわず、しかし折れることもなく、ただ軽やかに受け流す。そして、嵐が去れば、また、何事もなかったかのように、静かに元の姿に戻っておる。その、しなやかで、動じない強さ、それこそが、軽みなのだ。この軽みは、人間関係において、誠の力を発揮する。君を非難する者、君を傷つけようとする者がおっても、柳の枝のようであれ。その言葉を、真正面から受け止め、心を痛めるでない。ただ、受け流すのだ。かわすのだ。その者の心にある闇は、その者のもの、君が、その闇に付き合う必要はない。また、 人を愛するときも軽やかであれ。愛するとは相手を所有することではない。相手を鳥かごに閉じ込めることではない。ただその人がその人らしく自由に空を飛べるよう静かに見守り、時には心地よい追い風を送ってやることだ。その見返りを求めぬ軽やかな愛こそ誠の愛なのだ。日常の何気ない一瞬をただ素朴な言葉で簡素に写し取る。しかしその短い言葉の奥には千の言葉を尽くしても語りきれぬ深い味わいと静かな感動が宿っておる。これこそがわしが生涯をかけて追い求めた誠の徘徊の道であった。そしてこれは徘徊に限った話ではない。君の人生そのものにも寸分違わず言えることなのだ。もう飾り立てる必要はないのだ。これ以上何かを付け加える必要はない。見栄を張る必要もない。誰かと比べる必要も全くない。君はありのままの君としてこの世に生まれ落ちたその瞬間からすでに完璧で十分に尊いのだ。君がやるべきことはただ一つ。余計なものをすべて削ぎ落とし磨き抜かれた君という魂のありのままの輝きをただ静かにそして堂々とこの世界に示せばよい。それが君がこの世に生まれてきたたった一つの意味なのだから。簡素に生きよ。荷を下ろし心を軽くし今この一瞬を深く深く味わえ。そして恐れることなく自らの足で人生という尊い旅を最後まで歩き続けよう。旅に闇夢は彼のを駆け巡る。わしの最後の管死の床にあってもなおわしの魂は旅を続けておった。肉体は滅びようとも旅は終わらぬのだ。死とは恐れるべき終焉ではない。それはこの肉体という古びた衣を脱ぎ捨てて次なる大いなる旅へと出発するための最後のそして最も神聖な門出なのだ。その時が来たなら何の悔いもなく何の心の懲りもなく軽やかにその門をくぐれるように。そのためにこそ今を簡素に深く生きるのだ。さあ最後の言葉だ。この話を聞いて心が動いたならそれで終わりにしてはならん。行動するのだ。今すぐできることから始めるのだ。この話が終わったらまず立ち上がれ。そして窓を開けよ。外の空気を胸いっぱいに吸い込め。そしてたった一つでいい何か君の心を動かすものを見つけ出すのだ。雲の形でもいい。鳥の声でもいい。葉っぱの緑でもいい。それをただ3分間じっと見つめ感じてみよう。考えるな。ただ感じるのだ。それが君の新しい旅の輝かしい第一歩となるだろう。それがこの永遠の旅人芭蕉から魂を込めて君に送るたった一つのそしてすべてである。今日の話が君の魂に消えることのない火を灯したのならチャンネル登録を頼む。さらなる真理の探求そして人生の勝利を求めるならばまたこの場所で会おうではないか。
So, you were source energy before you came into these physical bodies. You don't remember that, and there's a reason that you don't, but you were. You were source energy before you came into these physical bodies, and now you are an extension of that source energy. So here you are, focused, just as you intended to be, focused upon the things of your time-space reality, and you are utilizing your focus to help you personally, independently, identify your preferences. Sometimes you don't really grasp that. You don't really understand how perfect it is and how important it is that you deliberately choose. So anyway, that's step one. You ask for what you want, and you can't stop asking because life just continues to serve itself up to you in ways that cause you to identify your preferences. It happens all day, every day, at all levels of your being. It's really what the evolution of all species is about. So when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. If someone's rude, you want them to be nicer. If you're rude, you want to be nicer. If you're unhappy, you want to be happier. If something's gone wrong, you want it to go right. In other words, if you don't have enough of something you want more of it. It's a very simple equation, not hard for you to figure it out, and you're doing it all day, every day. But what you may not know is that every time, whether you speak it out loud or not, something happens like that, you are launching these vibrational preferences. And the larger part of you is aware of the preference that you have launched and becomes it, because your inner being is unconditional. Your inner being rides the rocket of your desire. When you say, I prefer something, your inner being doesn't say, well, there aren't that many of them going around. Your inner being doesn't say, well, that's risky business and it's unlikely. Your inner being doesn't say, you don't have the education for that or the money for that or the background for that. When you launch a rocket, a request, a preference, a desire, your inner being becomes a vibrational match to it immediately. And because you are an extension of that inner being who has become a match to it, now you hold the potential of splitting your energy if you don't become a match to it too. You see how it works? When you say, I want that, the source within you says, done. We're there. We've got it. We're a vibrational match to it. Because everything that manifests is first a vibrational frequency. And the source within you will give you this, can more easily match your desires because in the energy stream, it is immediate. In your manifestational world, you've got some bugs to work out of your vibrational frequency. Source doesn't have to work those bugs out because Source already believes in you. Source already knows your value. Source already knows your worthiness. Source remembers why you came and who you are. So when you launch a rocket about something that you would like more of, Source is right there in that frequency. And in fact, the only reason that any of you ever feel any slight or strong negative emotion is because Source finds the frequency, the fullness of the desire that you have launched, and when you don't, there's vibrational discord between you and Source. Does that make sense to you? If there were ever a way for you to understand that Source exists, it must be in your emotional awareness. Because if there were not someone keenly interested in you and holding a vibrational frequency about you, then you could think anything you want and you would feel no vibrational variance. That's something really to think about. When you feel negative emotion, it always means the same thing. You've got a different opinion about this than Source has about this. And that's something else we really want you to hear. Source does have an opinion about this and this and this and this. Now. Source adores you. When you're mad at yourself, you've got a split going on. There's a gap widening. Source adores the people of this planet. When you carve out a section of them and hate them, you've got a rift going on between you and Source. You will never be able to be in alignment with Source when you hold hate in your heart because of some condition that you can't control. As you get to know Source better, through your awareness of what it feels like to be in alignment, you can learn in a matter of days how Source feels about everything that is active on your planet today. You can just give it the emotional test. When you think a thought and you feel love, you can know Source is in agreement with this thought. And when you think a thought and you feel fear, you can know Source is not anything close to an agreement on this thought. So once you get clear about what this emotional guidance system is, then you can get on with what you've come to get on about. Then you can be the deliberate creator. You can be or do or have anything that you choose because you've got this backup. So step one is contrast helps you to define what you want. You do it all day, every day. And step two is Source becomes it vibrationally immediately. Wrote a whole book about that called Ask and It Is Given, and that's what it was about. That when you ask, Source becomes the vibrational equivalent of it. The energy that creates worlds. Imagine that. The energy that creates worlds. The vibrational equivalent to your desires. Keeping the light on. Keeping the vibration steady. So that anytime you get in the vicinity or away from the vicinity, you'll know where you are in relationship to it. Helps you to zero in on who you really are and what you really want. To become the fullness of all that you are. So your work really is the step 3 part of this 3-step process. Now step 4 process, but step 3 process we talked about for so many years. Ask, source answers, and then you must find a way to become a vibrational match to what you're asking for. In other words, you can't want something and doubt it and get it. You can't want something and be mad that you don't have it and get it. You can't want something and be impatient about it. The flight attendant said, "Thank you for your patience." And Esther said, "You're confused about who." You must be talking about the previous flight, because no patience happening here. You can tell by the way you feel whether you are in alignment or whether you are not. So, we are eager to talk with you about anything that matters to you. We're going to help you to find some ways, if you want them, to line up easily with who you are and what you want. In some ways, some of the things that we will suggest today, you will stubbornly protest against a little bit, because it's just going to seem too simple. And some of the things that we're going to say to you and promises that we're going to make to you, you may even doubt a little bit, because they're just words that sort of kind of make sense, and maybe you feel resonance with them, but you haven't had the manifestational evidence in your life yet about it. But we know that with just a little bit of listening and a little bit of resonating and a little bit of awareness and then a little bit of focusing, that you will find manifestational evidence about everything that we talk about here today. You're going to know precisely how your thoughts become the reality that you are living, so that not only you are aware of it, but others who are observing you as well. So as we've been talking to you about launching these rockets of desires, we also wrote a book about where they go. We called it The Vortex. It's this vibrational reality. It's this vibrational reality that you cannot yet see or hear or smell or taste or touch. You can feel it emotionally. Well, that's just annoying to people. We spent a lot of time trying to talk you into getting into the vortex where everything you want is. And you were very nice to us. No one ever got up and left the room. Well, just that one guy. But you were interested about the vortex, but you began saying things like, "Okay, so my fortune's in the vortex, Abraham. I want it to come out of the vortex and into my bank. Because it's nice knowing that I've created realities that I can't see yet, or that others can't see, but really, how long can this go on? How long do you think you can keep me hopeful about things that aren't tangible?" And we say, it was never your intention to come and live without the tangibility. You are in a time-space reality where you can measure your existence through your manifestations. We just want you to understand that if you've got a vibration going on that is keeping you from being a vibrational match to what you want, the manifestation that you want cannot come. And you wouldn't want it to. You wouldn't want it to. So then we began talking to you about, so here's all of this vibrational reality, and you're going, yeah, we accept it, get on with it. How do I get it into my reality where I can see it, where others can see it? And so we began talking about your point of attraction. For a while we called it a grid. It's your point of attraction. It's like the framework of who you are, looking for different ways to help you feel the reality of your point of attraction. Your point of attraction, where you stand. And mostly it's about how you feel right now. How do you feel right now? What's your mood? What is the mood that is swirling around you? Because your mood is the best indicator that you have to let you know what the vibrational atmosphere is that you've got going on. And your vibrational atmosphere matters because it is your point of attraction. How you feel, your mood, the thoughts you're thinking, the beliefs you hold, what's going on, the conversations you have, how you move in the world, how you feel in the world, what you're doing now. Right now you have a relationship with your vortex. Right now you have a relationship with your vibrational reality. And the question that we want you to ask yourself is the relationship that you have with something that's in your vibrational reality, in your vortex, is the relationship you have one of holding it away? And you can tell by the way you feel whether you are holding it away or whether you are allowing it in. You can also tell by whether it's coming in or not. We're not asking you to just hold yourself in this emotional state of being and just take our word for it. What we're saying to you is take our word for it, hold yourself in the emotional state of being, and watch the evidence move from your vibrational reality into your reality until before long you will have such confidence in your ability to manifest anything that you desire, because you will have discovered what kinds of things you've been doing that have been preventing the things that you want from coming easily. And we can tell you in a very succinct, nutshell kind of a sentence what it mostly is. Your observation of the conditions that exist now are the reason that you keep repeating a pattern that holds away the things you want. It really is that simple. You got to change the way you look at things. You got to reorient yourself. You've got to become more vibrational interfacing. You have to trust the way you feel. You have to accept that you have guidance. You have to accept that your guidance is always leading you toward what you want. And you have to be aware of when you're moving toward what you want and when you're not moving toward what you want. And you have to accept that the emotions that you hold are the indicator of whether you're moving closer or further. You can just tell. You'll get so good at this that you'll be in the middle of a conversation and you'll stop talking right in the middle of it because you'll realize that you're moving away from what you want rather than toward what you want. So often, in your quest to make someone else understand what you mean, who's in a different vibrational frequency and is not hearing what you mean, in your attempt to get them to hear what you mean, you are responding to the condition of them not hearing. So you are basing what you are saying based upon what they are not hearing, and then you join them in their frequency rather than maintaining yours, and then instead of them hearing what you mean, you hear what they mean, and nothing changes. Oh, you got that, didn't you? So, let's just start talking about some stuff that's important to you, and let's make everything that we said just now more tangible for you. We want you to feel your thoughts becoming manifested. We want you to feel the movement of the vibration into awareness, into emotion, and then into see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, tangible, manifested stuff, just like you intended. You're not here just to accumulate stuff, but you are here as a masterful creator. You're here to mold the energy. And how your life is playing out is evidence of how you're doing. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. Take it easy. Be easier about everything. Be more playful. Have more fun. Sleep more. Do more things that feel good. Pamper yourself more. Do things that are more feeling in nature. Get out there where the gardens smell good and look at the ocean that looks good. Do more things that just make it easy for you to feel good in the moment. Make a decision that just for a little while, you're going to take the struggle out of your experience because it isn't working out. And watch what a new decision about ease and alignment and general will bring for you. We speak this to you easily and wholeheartedly and with complete confidence in the wonderful things that are coming to you because we've seen your vortex. We know what you've created. And we can feel the shift in you. And so we know that obvious, measurable improvement is right on your doorstep. And we will revel with you in every realization that you have about it. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain in your vortex. Think about what anxiety is. Think about what it means. What do any emotions mean? What do they mean? Because all emotions, whether they feel good or not, are giving you feedback about your relationship with who you are. So the better they feel, the more you are allowing who you are to be present. And the worse you feel, the more you're pinching it off. So if you feel anxiety, it means in that moment of anxiety, you are focusing a thought into being that your inner being is not anywhere near. And as you introduce that thought into your vibrational mix, you cause resistance, which doesn't allow the fullness of who you are to be realized by you. But here's the thing. Doesn't matter if you've done it since you were 5 years old. Doesn't matter how many years you've renewed that and carried it forward. It always means the same thing. And as you acknowledge what it does mean, as you acknowledge that what it means is that you are not a full vibrational mix with who you really are, that you're introducing resistance, then the idea of introducing less resistance must become a practical idea to you. So if offering less resistance is a practical idea to you, then let's talk about how the easiest way to do that is. So it started when you were 5, let's say, and you've been carrying that thought forward and carrying that thought forward. And so there's some momentum about it. It's a little harder to stop. But here's the thing. When a negative thought comes to you in any moment in time, it doesn't really have the momentum of all those years. It just has the practice in this moment. In other words, what's your propensity is really the only thing that your emotions are really asking you to pay attention to. Have you heard us talk about the emotional scale, where on one end of the scale is love and appreciation and ecstasy and all of those fantastic feelings of invincibility, and on the other end is fear and grief and powerlessness, and in the middle of that scale is contentment or satisfaction? So let's say you start out in a day and you wake up, and because you haven't been thinking much yet today, there's not much momentum going. You haven't pushed any buttons that have taken you into those stressful, paranoid feelings. And so in your attitude more of the contentment that you've awakened in, hear this, you have more control. When you feel contentment or satisfaction, you have control. You can step right out in front of that thought and stop it. But if you let it get very far down the road, then you can't get out in front of it and stop it. And so if you can realize that you're feeling some dissatisfaction, you can change the subject to satisfaction rather easily if you catch it fast. If you don't put words to it, once you start talking about it, you're done. Once you talk to somebody else about it, the momentum is such that you may not get it back in this whole day. But if you can catch it early enough, you can maintain, and these are the operative words that we want you to hear, you can maintain control of your vibration. Anxiety means a lot of momentum because I've got a lot of thoughts going about a lot of things that could go wrong. And a very practical, well-grounded earthling would say, well, of course I'm anxious. I'm paying attention to what's going on in the world. And we say, you can get so good at staying tuned into your source energy that you can pay attention to what's going on in the world from your connection to source energy, and you won't feel anxiety. You'll feel empowered for more. You've got to be in the receiving mode of what you're asking for. And when you feel anxiety, you are not in the receiving mode. Well, you see, if you hadn't asked, no anxiety could happen. Because if you're not asking for something, then you can't deny it. But if you have the capacity to ask for it, then you've got to use your mind control to stay in alignment with what you've asked for. You can't be sloppy in your thoughts. You can't ask for one thing and focus in opposition to it without your guidance system saying, excuse me, you might want to know this. Now you've asked and we're all over it. And law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. So we want to call your attention to the non-physical part of you. When life causes you to ask for something, your inner being immediately becomes that more that you have asked for. And the law of attraction responds to that non-physical you point of attraction. The energy that creates worlds swirls. The cooperative components, everything that is necessary in order to accomplish what you have asked for begins to come into play. There is a powerful attraction that is reaching for all cooperative components. And you have not heard us say this before. And most of all, reaching for the component that is you since you gave birth to it. You follow? So here is law of attraction and source energy and all cooperative components gathering everything necessary for what you've asked for. And if you are a holdout, then you feel anxiety. Anxiety, and worse, is what you feel when you've asked and set a whole lot into motion, and then you stubbornly decide that you're just going to keep looking at what is instead of going with what you are in the process of creating. When you are a creator, you have a responsibility to your creation if you want to feel good. And the responsibility to your creation, if you want to feel good, is to feel good. But somehow, along your physical trail, somebody convinced you, and you bought into it pretty early, that you're supposed to suffer and that anything that is worth having takes some sacrifice and some struggle. And so you convinced yourself that the anxiety that feels so awful must be a good thing. It must be part of the struggle that others have told you is necessary to accomplish anything. And we say, use your own resources to test that theory to discover how bogus it is. If you can identify within yourself what an actual feeling of satisfaction is, just by noticing life, and when you catch yourself being satisfied, stop for a moment and acknowledge the components of it. And most of all, notice how it feels and try to milk it to make it last longer. What happens is, then you not only identify it, but you begin to isolate it. You begin to own the vibration of it, which makes you have a stronger propensity to go there more easily next time. And we want to say to you that satisfaction and being in the receiving mode are one and the same. A feeling of satisfaction and being under the influence of your own inner being are one and the same. And so Esther takes that to mean that when she's satisfied, she's tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And that satisfaction, because she knows about momentum, can only become more and more. And we want you to hear from us that when you are satisfied, which means you are absent of resistance, then the momentum picks up speed really fast. So it's much easier than you are previously believing to take yourself to those higher levels of greater and greater and greater ecstasy and momentum. So Esther sat for an afternoon and just thought about things that she knew she felt satisfaction about. And it wasn't about possessing things, maybe a little. She used to say to Jerry, why don't you buy me that car? It would make me happy for the afternoon. But satisfaction, we mean those feelings of true resonance with your inner being. We mean being in vibrational harmony with the whole of you. We mean the whole of you present in the moment. And when the whole of you is present in any moment, then your ability to extract from the details of your moment the things that are God-worthy, the things that are source, the things that feel wonderful, things like love and appreciation, satisfaction on steroids, become your experience. Satisfaction is so easy to identify. It's easy to notice. It's easy if you care about it. It's easy to isolate. It's easy to practice. It's easy to own. And then it's easy to notice when you're deviating and when you're on point. You see what we're getting at? So then you might say, I sort of have a vague recollection of being anxious, but now my strongest recollection, because it's something that is happening the most often to me now, is a feeling of satisfaction, because that's where I focus and that's what I find. And most important is because that's where my inner being is, and I only have to hook up just for a few seconds. I only have to hold myself in satisfaction for a few seconds before the momentum of my connection with all that is and source energy and my inner being becomes my dominant point of attraction. And then I'm off and rolling, you see. And we get it. You came to us to chew on something, to get some clarity. And if you don't know what you don't want, then you can't know what you do want. And so it's a perfectly logical conversation to have, to point out where you are that you don't want to be in order to get clarity about where you do want to be. But you gotta just sort of dig in and decide that you are going to take control of the direction of your thoughts. Esther said to herself the other day, and she doesn't have it down yet, but she really meant it when she said it, I can find satisfaction and I can maintain satisfaction, and I also occasionally find dissatisfaction because life comes at you pretty fast sometimes. And so when dissatisfaction comes, because you can't control the whole world, it's not your job, and because you're eager about noticing things, or at least Esther is, and so when she sees something that is dissatisfying, she said to herself, at least I'm not going to talk about it. I can notice it, and I can take the emotional hit on it, but I don't have to talk about it. And sometimes she does and sometimes she doesn't. And it depends on how big that pushed her button. Because law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. So when you see something that you don't want and you have had thoughts about not wanting it before, those thoughts are relatively easy to activate within you. But when you come to realize that the way you feel in any moment in time is really not about what's happening out there. It's only about what's happening in here. It's only about the mix of vibrations that you've got going on. And we want to say again, in fact, we want to say it again and again and again and again, if you weren't really different than that, that would cause you no discomfort at all. If you were not pure love, you would not take any vibrational issue with something that is hate. Your guidance system is so perfect, all the time perfect, you see. So just play with it. Be easy about it. Most of all, what we'd like to say to you, others too, don't beat up on yourself. And we'd like to say this to you too. It's not necessary that you make a proclamation to yourself or to the world, moment by moment, about how you feel about stuff. You don't have to explain nothing to nobody. But there is this feeling within most of our human friends that goes something like this. Here I stand, and I'm a little insecure about how I fit into all of this. So if I explain myself to others and they get me, then I'll feel better. But it never works that way. Have you noticed? It doesn't matter how many humans get you in your negative approach to life. You're still defying your inner being who really gets you. The whole world could agree with you that something is a bad thing and that your stress is therefore justified. But if you're out of whack with your inner being, you're still going to feel awful. You cannot gather enough others to agree with you about how bad something is to ever feel good about how bad it is. It's never going to work that way. So you have a choice of feeling good or asking others to get you. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, we'd give that up because no matter how hard you try, they're not going to get you. They're not going to get you. You're not gettable. They're not supposed to get you. They're not supposed to use you as their barometer of their guidance, although that's what humans do all the time to each other. You think if you can get enough people to get you, then your insecurity will go away. The more you look for other people to get you, they're so fickle. They get you in 1 minute and they don't get you in the next, and then you try to be all these different things so that you're gettable all the time. And you know you do that to each other because if someone is tuned in, tapped in, turned on, they're under the influence of source energy and they're holding you as their object of attention. Oh, that feels so good to you because all that delicious well-being and pure positive energy and love and appreciation is washing over you. And if you're meeting it just a little bit, it feels so good. But if you look to that person for that, and that person is sort of unstable in that connection, they're going to let you down right away. That's looking for love in all the wrong places, you see. If there's anything we would like you to leave this gathering decided about, it's not to care whether other humans get you or not. Because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But if you care about them getting you and sometimes they do, then when they don't, that'll really get you. But if you're looking to your inner being who is always there for you, your inner being will never let you down. When you reach for thoughts of satisfaction, you will always find them because your inner being is always there, you see. Takes a little reorientation, but it's not hard, you'll see.